Hello, welcome along, Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and here we are now with part 26 of this beautiful DeAgostini Ferrari 330 P4. And in today's video we are going to be looking at packs 29 and 30. I've had a look. Unlike the Lancaster, these books come unwrapped, so I can see what's in there and I can tell what we're going to be doing. So as usual, I just want to start off by saying I did mislead you in one of my previous videos. I think it was part 23, or part 24, sorry, where we looked at pack 27, and I said we've got 5 magazines to look at this month. We actually have 6, so I lied. Right, so in this one, as usual, we'll have a look at the magazine. If you want to find out more about this model and perhaps get one for yourself, in the description below there is a link. If you use that link, that will take you directly to the DeAgostini website where you can find out all about it and order yourself one or whatever. But also it lets them know that the traffic has come through me, so that means they'll keep sending me the bits so I can finish this model off. If I don't raise them any revenue or any interest, then what's the point in them giving me the model? So here we go again. It's another Ferrari 166P, the first Dino from Maranello. This was the first model to bear the name of Enzo Ferrari's son, who designed a 65-degree V6 engine. The car was so manoeuvrable and powerful that Ferrari's rivals couldn't believe it only achieved 4th place at the 1,000 kilometres of the Nürburgring. So there we are, little V6. That engine obviously ended up in the Stratos as well. So beautiful little engine. It was available in 2-valve and 4-valve configurations, and it was 180 horsepower. There you go. It was it was a 2.65 litre engine. Displacement per cylinder, it was a 1.6, 1,592 cc, 2 valves per cylinder, actuated by double overhead cams, dual ignition system, and fuel air mix was supplied by 3 twin barrel carburetors. I think it might have been DCNFs. Power output was approximately 180 horsepower. So 180 horsepower from a 1.6 in, what was it, 1965? Was it 1965? What year was it? 61? 61 it says there, something says 61, but yeah, absolutely amazing, that sort of power from a 1.6. When you think my little GR Yaris is a 1.6 3-cylinder, it's got a turbo, and that's 200 and they say 265, but I think they're actually about 280 horsepower. So quite incredible, 180 horsepower back then. Right, Testarossa, an exciting supercar. That's not how I describe it, but it's certainly a good-looking car. But to me, unlike the GTO, the 288 GTO, which is my favourite, or the 308, 328, you know, any of the other Ferraris really, I think this looks really dated. I think that really looks dated. It's just, don't know, not a fan. So you can see the bell housing and the clutch there. There's the under engine transmission, so you got the drive there, driving back down through. Again, much like the Stratos. There's the tubular steel frame chassis, all made of box section. So not sure how rigid that would have been. It doesn't look very rigid, does it? There's one on a rolling road there. There's a rear suspension setup with the twin shock absorbers. There's a body there being built up on a frame. There we are. And there's another picture of it there. Great. I was a fan in the day, but not really much of a fan anymore. It just looks so dated in my opinion. Okay, so here we are now in pack 29, and we're going to be looking at the front part of the central frame. So, or you could call it the forward area of the space frame. I guess you would call this a space frame because it's a tubular steel construction. Okay, so that's going to go back on there like that. It can go into recycling. In fact, the recycling day is today, so if I get this done quickly, I can get out there and get this one screw spare. So we have all the parts. We can see them there. This is a very simple stage for this model. This model has been very, very complex and very busy in all its build stages, but this time it's not so busy. So we're going to take this frame here, we're going to turn it over so we've got the holes facing us here, and we're going to push the inner guard 29B onto the front central frame as shown. So we've got 3 holes there, we've got 3 pins on the back of here, and that's going to go that way up. So you've got 2 pins going in the back there. I've still got my bloody cold and my eyes are streaming, so I can't really see what I'm doing, to be honest. I shouldn't bother making videos. I've also been doing some welding in the garage, which doesn't help, does it? So there we go, because of the bright lights. Right, so now we're going to take the hose and cut 2 pieces, 180 and 120 millimeters long. So we'll just straighten that out a bit. Okay, so as usual, we'll grab our rule. So we've got 1 at 120. This thing is absolutely covered in vinyl tubing. We'll grab some cutters here. You can see I've got a cold, I've got sleeves on this. This is a dirty garage top, this one. And then 1 at 80 millimeters, was it? Yes, it was 80 millimeters. So 80 millimeters there. Come along there and we'll lob that one off. Okay, so we got that there. Right, so attach the 80 millimeter hose to the top pin on the center upright of frame 29A. So the 80 millimeter hose is going onto the top pin there. Look, that's a tight fit. Well, that is tight. There we go. It does go on. Best way is to grab it from both sides, that you just saw me do then. And then the 120 is going on the bottom one. As I say, it's really tight, but I'd rather it tight. Unlike another manufacturer, it just gives you a tiny, tiny little pip. And every hose has to be glued on. And the hose they supply you with is silicone, which is nigh on impossible to glue. Right. Well, there we go, it's finally gone on. There we are. So that's it. That's on there, nice and snug. Retrieve the assembly from the previous issue, place it upside down on the work surface, mount the front central frame on the upper front central frame as shown in photo A. So we're going to have this that way up on the bench, and we're going to mount this way up, and we're going to slide it forward like that. Is it? Is that how we're going? Or are we going into the middle? I don't know. Let's have a look. So, hey, I've got the wrong way round, idiot. Like that. Number T. So we're going to slide this forward. Are they talking about slide it forward? I think it's going to go like that, and we're going to put a screw through that hole. I don't, they're talking about sliding it forward, yeah. Make sure the 2 semicircular sections over the centre frame coincide with the 2 holes. Hold them in place and fix the 2 frames together with an AM screw in the hole shown photo B. Yes, exactly like I just said. Basically, what are they talking about? Sliding it forward. You're going to just plonk it down. You don't need to slide anything anywhere. Right, so we're going to hold this like this. This is going to be quite fragile after it's done. So, these pipes are all getting in the way as well. So we're going to plonk this down on there. Okay, and then we're going to put a screw. Oh, I didn't preload the screwdriver again. Tell me the old story. Slide that off of there, right, and then I can come back and jump on that screw like that. I haven't tapped this thread because I want this to be tight. Right, I'm going to make sure those 2 holes line up. Tighten that screw up. There we go, that's that done. Okay, handle the assembly with care and store in a safe place as the frames are connected by only 1 screw. It'd be very easy to just break that off. I'd love to know what they're talking about here with sliding it on. Have I missed something? Mount the front central frame. Oh, it doesn't say slide it on, they're showing you sliding it on. Mount the central frame Right, okay, so that's it then, right. Right, so there we are, so that's 29. Let's have a look at 30. Okay, so here we have pack 30. So, as I say, as usual, we'll start with the magazine. Beautiful car. There's a 330 P4. This is what we're building now. What a beautiful car. So, Vaccarella, or Vaccarella. Yeah, 2 C's, I think that's K. The Flying Headmaster. It was not uncommon to see Nino Vaccarella wait for the leading cars to give up before putting his foot in the gas to claim victory. He wasn't a full-time racing driver, but he had an enviable track record and a memorable nickname. Wow. King of Targa Florio. There's a 512S. Beautiful. And there's the 328 GTB. Beautiful car. I love the 328. That's what Magnum drove, wasn't it? I think it was a 328. Look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous looking thing. Still looks modern now in my opinion. Doesn't look at all dated. So much prettier than the Testarossa. Beautiful. Look at it there. It's just bloody gorgeous, isn't it? Hasegawa did a nice 24 scale model of that one if you ever want to build a nice one. Okay, so pack 30, we have the lower frame and horn. So, the most common combination you'll hear of. So we've got a great big plastic box for the recycling bin and a plastic bag for the dustbin. Right, so this is metal, as you may imagine, and it's beautiful, as you may imagine, because it's DeAgostini, and I must admit I am very impressed with the quality of stuff they put out. Very impressed. So there's our beautiful lower frame. So this is the lower part of the space frame. As you can see, it's all tubular welded steel. This would have been, it might have been aluminium actually, but probably steel. So we've got the horn there, and we've got a packet of screws here. So what we do in here, we've got 5 AM screws with 1 spare. So, okay, so we are going to assemble the 2 parts of the horn, 30B and 30C, with a little light pressure, mount the horn on the lower frame. So we are going to put that. There is a D-shaped pin on there, there is a D-shaped hole in there, and that's just going to go together just like that. That's a nice tight snug fit. And with a little light pressure, mount the horn on the lower frame by pushing the pin from part 30B into the hole in the grey plate, photos B and C. So we've got a hole there. So there's a hole there, we're going to mount this. This is just going in like so. Now if you notice, there's a note. There's a little peg on there, yeah. Is there a little slot in there? There isn't, is there? Okay, so we're just going to put that in there lightly because it says do not fix the horn with glue, as you'll have to remove it later before permanently reattaching it. So don't glue it in. You have been warned. Retrieve the assembly formed by the front central frame and central frame from the previous issue. Push it onto the frame with a little light pressure at the point shown, photo A. So we are going to place this onto this central frame. So we obviously want to make sure we don't trap any of these hoses. So this is going down I can't see what is going to line up with what. So on the back end, okay, so it's going that way up, right? I keep getting everything upside down today, don't I? Okay, so the back end is going to line up there. So we have, right. So this radius section here, I'm pointing to now, that radius bit there, that's going to go over that central bit there. This is going to go over there, and this hole is going to line up with that hole there on the back. Okay, so we're just going to drop that down on. Just like so. Again, I haven't tapped any threads because I want a nice tight fit. So there we go. So we're pushing that down on there. Hold the components together and turn the assembly over. That's going to be easier said than done. Okay, so we're going to hold this together. It's impossible. Right, so we're going to hold this together, or not. So get our fingers on the top, make sure we don't break anything. Oh, I haven't even got the screws out, let alone arm the screwdriver. What a noise, you plonker. Right. Oh, come on. Bloody bags. Right. So, in future I must open the bags before. I can't open the bags because I like to keep the whole thing sealed up, don't I? As I said, I've mentioned it before, I wish they would just give us a huge bag of screws instead of having all these separate little bags all the time. So I'm putting the screws in a couple of turns. Alright, I'm going to try and get that onto here. Excuse my disgusting nails, guys. I've been working in the garage on my Fiat. There's a link in the description below to my Fiat channel if you want to go and have a look at what I'm up to. But yeah, I work on my Fiat and I bite my nails as well, which is a disgusting habit. If you notice, I'm just putting the screws in a couple of turns at a time because we don't want to go locking everything up. Okay, so we're just basically getting everything positioned. You can see that that screw there has come loose already because this is all moving around, look. But now it's going to get fixed. So where are these two going? One in the centre, one at the front. So this is going to line up. Right, so we're going to have to slacken this screw here. Remember, we put this frame in here back in part 28, I think it was. So we're going to loosen that so we can swing it round. Okay, get it all nice and square. We're not worried about this chassis flopping around here at the moment. And now these two tubes I haven't loaded the bloody screwdriver again. They are going to line up with those there, right. So that one's lining up there, so that's going in. And then this one's going to line up here, so that one's going in. Okay, now everything's loose. So now what we can do is put this chassis back square so that basically the steering rack is running across. And I'm going to tighten this screw here. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it over. Again, making sure it's square. I'm going to tighten this screw here because this is the one that's holding the front end on. Alright. And now everything's all nice and square. We've got no trapped tubes anywhere. Nothing's all trapped. So we can go on and tighten this one here. Pull that together. I wonder if the larger screwdriver will fit these little screws. Yes, it does. Get a better purchase on it with a larger handle. So just put these in. So they're nice and snug. Don't worry about anything coming loose once it's built. It's only because everything is on this front end, everything is free to pivot because it's only on two little mounting points, so that's why it's coming loose. So don't think it's all going to start to fall apart when it's built, because it won't. And you can afford to have these pretty well nipped up because they're metal screws going into metal parts, pulling metal parts together. Nothing's going to split or break, as long as you don't go too mad. Again, that screw's come loose, so now I've got my bigger screwdriver, I may be able to get a bit more purchase on it. So we'll get that one tightened up there, and we'll get that one tightened up there, good and proper. Get that held down. Right, so there we are, there's our one spare AM screw. So I think that's it. Yeah, so we've got 5 screws gone in. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the 5 that show in there. So that's our chassis now, all coming together. Our space frame starting to come together. No doubt we'll fit the engine to this soon. And it's going to be beautiful, isn't it? Lovely. Right, I will see you all back soon for part 27, which will cover packs 31 and 32. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.